Hello, hello, and welcome to the Believing Better series with Kim Guillory and Bridget LeBlanc. We are on day 8 or 9. I'm not even sure anymore. I know we're on the tail end, and we are going to talk about, oh my God, we have so much history. We tried to figure it out the other day. I know I opened the gym, and that's how long you've been a client here. And that was like in 2001 or something like that.
Wow. Wow. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know, it wasn't long after that you became a client, a member here, and then we've done other things together. And then you came into we used to work out together and kind of have these talks. And you told me one day, you were like, I really didn't know anything you were talking about. You were like, it was interesting. I kept coming back, but I have no idea what you were saying.
I know I was so intrigued though. It's like I was like, man, she knows some shit. I wanna listen to her. I want more and I want more and I want more. So I kept following you. I kept, whatever program you would go in, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go in and dabble in this and dabble in that.
You could probably tell me more about myself and my journey than I can because you saw from the outside where I was and where I'm at now. And I think the turning point for you specifically, you used to have a lot of chronic conditions, Bridget. It was the headache and the sinus and so many things I remember that was like, because you were working out. So you'd have to stop, you'd have to go to the doctor, you'd got to go do allergy tests, shots. It was always like that kind of stuff.
Yes, I
And I
was
think
always so
when
sick.
the switch happened is when you joined weight loss and wellness group, or maybe clean fit. Where
Clean
would you
fit.
say?
Yeah, clean fit. Yeah, when I started eating healthier, paying more attention to my body, and just learning to rest, learning, to pay attention to my body and stop thinking that I had to push and push and push and please and and do all the things because that was what was exhausting me.
I'm very
Um,
such a people pleaser.
Yes. So I'm Bridget. I'm the people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser, I should say. Um, yeah, when I realized that I didn't have to please everybody, I didn't have to go to all the things. I mean, at first I felt so guilty, not doing all the things. But when I started to really tap into what I needed, what I wanted, and stop doing what society tells me that I should do all these different things. And of course, I am helping people is part of who I am. Um, but I still do that, but I do it on my own terms. You know what I mean? Like before my schedule could look like, okay, work all day, maybe go exercise, or and then okay, I'm gonna go cut so and so's nails for them, their dog's nails. Then so and so invited me to go eat, so I'm gonna go eat. So I mean, I could leave my house at whatever 7:30 in the morning and not get home till 10, 11 o'clock because I was doing all the things, and so I was exhausted. So now it pretty much looks like, I still do things that are important to me. Um, but it may be like, oh, well, this day has, on this day I have a few things. So I look at my schedule and I can tell ahead of time, and schedule it later when I don't have all the things and when it's convenient for me, um, instead of thinking that I have to do it all now, or even saying to
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
no to the parties, no to the meetings, no to the showers, all of the things that I just can't, because I would rather be here. Um, and I learned from some of the things that that you taught us in class and stuff was to feel what I want to do, and if it
It's
I
like
can feel
let me
it.
stop you. It's like you didn't even have permission to have your own opinion or do your own thing because you were so controlled by everything outside that you weren't even in touch with what you wanted or didn't want because you couldn't read that. Do you remember when I was like, people pleasers are just liars? Like I don't even know if you really want to go or don't want to go because you're such a robot to doing everything that everyone
Yeah,
wants.
and
And I'm
I
not talking about you
personally,
specifically, but us
yeah,
as people pleasers.
yeah. And when you said that, I was like, what? And but then when you kept going and you explained it, then I was like, when I have those aha moments where I'm like, oh yeah,
It's dishonesty. We do
yeah,
things we don't want to do and we pretend like we want to do it. It's dishonest. That is not relationship and friendship. That is not partnership. It is dishonesty.
it's true. I
I
didn't
need to
even
do
know.
this so that you can do this. It is emotional manipulation instead of even tapping in or even asking what we want or don't want. I was here too. That's why I recognize it because I was
Yeah.
that.
I didn't know. I mean, it's like I knew who I was, but I didn't know who I was. Like I would always look on the for the outside. Anything that I did, I would ask for other people's opinions and other people like, what do you think? What and just listen to what everybody else was doing instead of tapping into my own self. And looking within myself for the answers.
I think the part that made me recognize, and I don't know if this was like for you also, but it was when you were just constantly chronic sick with the sinus and the headaches and the shoulder and neck stuff, and you were coming in as a massage client. Well, you're coming with fitness and then massage client, and it took quite a few times for you to see that it was actually your body was physically manifesting from you repressing, and it wasn't at your fault. You weren't doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
It was like this habit of what I want or what I think is not important. And so it was always at the beck and call of everyone else. And that was physically coming out in your body. But Bridget, you didn't learn that right away. It was years. I remember like it being here and then at a retreat like 3 years ago and again a couple of years ago. And so I'm
The
curious what
headache,
you,
the people like wanting to be perfect, thinking that it not that I needed to be perfect, and that and the pressure. Like I remember you just telling me because the pressure was building up. Because I mean, I'd wake up with headaches, thinking that I always had to be this specific person, and I mean, and when I really look at it, like now when I think about it. People love me for who I am. Why was I thinking I had to be different and
oh,
that I
it's not
had to
us. It's not us. It's the way it's just our habit and behavior.
Mhm.
It's not like it's not us, the person
Yeah.
us. It's our nervous system, it's our unconscious, it's our inner child, it's the little girl in us that wants to please or that did something wrong and was never good enough and always trying to please mom or always trying to be that perfect friend or that's classic TMS. It is us who's an overachiever and wants to get it right, wants to be the good girl, wants to um not fail anyone, right? That's who gets
Yeah.
body physical manifestations in the body. That's who gets fibromyalgia, that's who gets arthritis, headaches, thyroid, neck and shoulder pain, chronic pain, feet, knees, and you'll notice because it's always moving and you can't keep up with it. It's like, oh my god, it's always one thing or another. And I remember that is when you started really, like Christy said yesterday, the awakening
Yeah.
was people were actually starting to treat you that way, like, oh, you're sick, Bridget's always sick, or like we got to be careful around Bridget, or
It's true. I mean, that's the first thing people would say is, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And sometimes I'm like, "I'm feeling fine. Why?" But I didn't realize that it was a thing. That's what people saw. Bridget's always sick. She's always got a cold. She's always got her allergies. She always, she's too tired, or um, because I was always so exhausted, pleasing everybody and doing all the things.
and now Bridget is older and she's not tired and she's happy and everything is easier. It's
It's
so
true. It's
interesting.
true. I have a friend of mine, and even my mom said that the other day, and she was like, "Man, you haven't been sick in a while," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's true." And I mean, I may start to get the headache or start to get the stuffed up nose or whatever, and then I know,
Or the stomach, the big stomach stuff.
oh
Remember, I can't eat certain things, I can't do all of that.
yeah. I know.
So when you guys, whenever you hear me talk about my client, when I said when I'm talking to massage therapists, I was like, Bridget was the one who called and she would come to me when she had neck and shoulder pain and headaches. And she was like, hey, I need an appointment. Can you do that thing? And I would work and it would release. And then one day I said, I can do it over the phone, but I don't, you can't come. And like, I don't have time or whatever, but we can do it now. And you were like, what? And I was like, yeah, we can just do it over the phone. And that's what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did get the release. And then once you showed me that it's all within myself and that I can do it myself, I mean, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
It
It's like
really was.
first, you don't even have to come on the massage table. I can do it with you over the phone, and then you can do it yourself.
Yeah. I remember the first time I did on my own, and I went in and I was kind of, trying to replicate kind of what you did, and and I think I texted you, I was like, I had this, and I don't even remember what it was, if it was a headache. And I was like, I realized, I tapped in and I realized what it was. And the minute that I realized what it was and I acknowledged it, I mean, I'm telling you, yeah.
It's crazy. It's
And
crazy.
if I think I want to say it was my nose was stopped. I don't remember, but if I would have given in, then I probably would have just getting sick, and I would have just accepted. Oh, I'm getting sick,
Here it
and then
is again. I'm always sick. You'd say, I don't know why I keep getting sick.
yeah, I'm always sick. Yeah, keep bringing all that on.
So it's so fascinating, guys. This is the true example of self-healing masters. We learn how to self-heal. We learn how to use these tools for us. Like it's a toolbox. So do you remember when you were in weight loss and wellness and you reached your body weight? Like you and Christy both, you were there. You were at the goal and it was like, woo. And I was like, all right, so what we're going to do next? Like we're going to become entrepreneurs. You're going to have your own business. And you were like, have a job, love my job. It's all fine. I'm like, I don't see that at all. I don't know what you're talking about. And Christy was like, no, me too. I have a job. I'm good working at the attorney's office. And I was like, that's when I realized I got to quit doing this because I really want to work with business owners and entrepreneurs and health and wellness practitioners because I was trying to turn everyone into like, hey, you have an amazing gift to serve the world. Let me show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And my clients were kind of reaching all their goals. And then they were like, yeah, I'm good. I don't plan on opening my own. And then here you are today. You have 2 days left to your full-time job.
Yes. I was thinking of that yesterday, my journey, and that same friend that we were talking about, she was like, you remember that ever since you were doing Mary Kay, you've wanted more, you've been on this journey. And so it's amazing the path, the journey, I mean, I prayed for so much for this, and now I can see the path that God put me on, in this journey, each year, each step of the way with you, with everything. So I opened my business, Paw Fit, training dogs, I just saw the need at the vet clinic. I've been working there for 21 years. I saw the need because, dogs would come in and, they were, active and crazy and it was hard to get them to calm down and all this, and it was like so chaotic, that puppy brain. And and so I was like, and I had a friend that brought her dog to be trained, and she told me, what they were doing, and I was like, wait a minute, like they changed just in what the dog training. And she was like, yeah. So I was intrigued, and so I kept researching, and I decided that this is something that I can do. And so I went to school, online for a year, and got my degree, and then opened my business this year. And it's I'm excited. I'm excited.
So fun.
Changing relationships.
Do you remember when we started like putting together the behavior, the puppies behaving like they getting the energy from the owners and the people and the path and the bridging, and were like, oh my God, like I'm starting to connect the dots and I'm seeing that the owners who are having this issue are connecting to their pets having this issue. It's y'all, it's so fascinating how we take on and
It's true. It's true.
I'll let you
It's
talk a
very
little bit
true.
about your awareness of that.
Um, you can see it's kind of like, whenever when you have that chaotic brain, when you're doing all the things, and because I can relate, and you come home and you have all this thing, and then the dogs are all crazy, and and it's like, and you don't take the time to see about them, and everything's just so chaotic. And when you can take the time to because you have to be present, you have to to do the work and pay attention to what they're doing. When they can become present and see all the things that they're doing, and I can bring it, and say, okay, well, we'll do it this way, we'll come in this way, we'll, let's get you need to be more calm, because and when you're calm, they're calm. And I had several clients that were like, you're so right. Because when we're watching and we're calm and we're, then the dog is sitting here calm and everything. But when everything is going and going and going, it's like, it builds and it builds and it builds. And they can feel all of that, when we're upset or angry and just, then they're feeding off of that, whether it be, jumping and jumping and misbehaving and not understanding, and or even getting scared, and not wanting to
Was
listen.
sad. I remember
Yeah.
being sad. I had just heard that a friend had passed away, and Molly just jumped on my lap and started crying tears, like came and laid on my lap and started crying. I was like, that's when I realized just how connected we are. And it's the same with our children. When we're calm, our children are calm. It's like, Angie
True.
and I were talking about the other day on with her interview. And when we can recognize, like, the only thing we want to be in control. We want to control the world.
Yes.
The most beautiful thing is when we can control ourselves,
Mhm.
when we can manage our mind, when we can control our emotions, when we can self-soothe. The whole world does change because our perception changes. And that's what I see in you, Bridget. I mean, you're so kind and you're so nice, and Bridget's so sweet, right? That's what everyone says. And it's like you are, but there was an agenda. And it was, I'm behaving this way so you like me, instead of just being me so you like me. And I
Yes.
think that's true for so many of us, that we believe we need to be a certain way to be accepted, or for people not to be mad at us. If we tell them no, they're going to be mad. If we tell them no, they're never going to call us again. Or that's where I see the biggest change came in from you, that there was so much agenda, that kindness, that sweetness, that giving is agenda laced. Like, can you see it now?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. And there's still some guilt sometimes, if when I do say no, or when I do go into what I want to do, because I don't know, it's like I was embarrassed, or I was shameful, to admit that no, I don't like
I
that.
don't really want to do
I
that.
want
I've
to do
just been doing it for 20 years because I thought I had to.
that. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I have so much peace, just knowing, being able to tap into and feel. It's hard to explain. I had my brain was so chaotic, and so and that spinning and spinning, and like I didn't. And now I can just, it's so calm, it's so peaceful. And you remember whenever I asked you, when I told you, I was like, I just want peace, and you were like, well, it's within yourself. And I was like, wait, what? How can this cuckoo brain, achieve, get where I want it to be, is peacefulness. And just being in alignment with what God, with who God wants me to be, and um just just doing all the work,
That's
and
another thing too, right? Because there was so much religious dogma about
yeah.
being the person that you are, and the perception of you not giving yourself permission to be that because of the dogma or whatever it was that you perceived as right or wrong with
A lot
religion,
of
with
times
God, with
it's just,
spirituality.
yeah, it's being selfish. If you do all the stuff you want, you're going to be selfish. You're selfish, and
What was your
uh,
belief about being selfish? If you're selfish, then that makes you bad. You're going to go to hell. Your friends are not going to like. What was your perception of what does that mean? Like it's bad to be selfish because what was your belief?
I guess it was that, if I'm selfish, then people, it's like it wasn't right. Like you're not supposed to be. Like you're supposed to be selfless. You're supposed to do all the things. You're supposed to help everybody. You're supposed to do all of this.
Do you, do you
People
think
would
that's
like
our do you think that's our perception of what Jesus taught? Do you think that's how the church perceived it, that we're supposed to
yes.
selflessly die on the cross, that that's what life is supposed to be about? Do you think it's that?
I thought it was that, like I thought that that's what they meant, and what, and I still think that there's a misconception to that, because even though I love, now love myself, I've learned to love myself and who I am. And now that, like when you were talking about Christ consciousness and, and being in alignment with who God wants you to be, I didn't, I was like, I don't know about all of that, but now I understand. I mean, I do plans on, on like a Bible app, I do my readings and stuff, and it's all in there. It's all in the Bible. You remember
That's what you kept telling me.
I kept taking snapshots of the app or whatever, Bible verse, and I send it to you, and I was like, look, and you're like, yes.
You were like, look, they're saying what you're saying. Oh my God. Like it was so funny. You've done that. We talked about that last night.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. And so when I realized and I stopped resisting and I realized that it was all connected, then it was like, then that was the biggest thing, is to stop resisting and just take it in,
I
and
know. I wonder if it's a fear of learning and knowing something new because there's a guilt about breaking this tribal belief or, what everyone else thinks, or if it's just because we, as little Catholics have been so told and so warned about mindfulness or meditation or presence or, just being who you are and, like giving yourself permission
yeah,
to be selfless or, whatever it is. Like I do, for me, that was so hard for me to break. And that's where the codependency and people pleasing came for me. Cause I wanted to please God more than anything. I just wanted to be Jesus's BFF and like, just make my way to heaven, serve it now, and I didn't realize the damage that it was causing in relationship with myself, with spirituality, with God, with my
it's true. It's
partners.
like,
That sounds like I have multiple partners. I mean partnerships, like my husband partner, but also my clients.
yeah,
Just clearing the air.
yeah, yeah. It's like I didn't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't, like you said, I wanted to be the good girl. I didn't want to do anything wrong, and but at the same time, I didn't really understand exactly what was right and what was wrong.
And I think the beauty is the hardest thing about self-healing masters, about integrative coaching, and about this work that we're doing, in my opinion, the hardest thing is giving ourselves permission. That's one of them. And that it's almost like breaking a code, um see if we can find your words, because I think we agree on it.
Yeah,
It's the freedom and the liberation from the rules and the dogma and the labels, all that conditioning. There's something very unsafe about that if you've been brought up in a religious background.
for sure.
Let
Yeah.
me, if you agree, let me hear it in your words, because I'm just trying to articulate it as we're talking.
Um, I'm kind of like you. I'm at a loss by like exactly what I want to say.
It's like it's unsafe not to have those boundaries and those what someone else is telling me to do, that's the right thing to do. It's like it's unsafe not to be in that cage.
Yes.
In
Hmm. It's like all your life you are told these things, kind of like with Mallory and Danielle or no, Kayla, when they were talking about Santa. It's like, you know you have all of these beliefs that your family, your friends, everybody, your at church, everything. And then when you really go out and you think that everything else is wrong, say, and then whenever you really start to go out and look at other beliefs, and you go with, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but then you're like, oh,
but
okay,
it's like taboo to even go and look, wouldn't you say? Like
yeah,
for me,
oh
like
yeah. Like if you were Catholic, then you shouldn't, want to, go to that other, church, or that, or if you're, you know what I'm saying? It was always, or um, if you're, I don't know that you shouldn't want more,
yeah,
maybe you should be
yeah.
satisfied with what.
This is the one and only. This is the original. I listen, guy. I'm here with Bridget having this conversation with you on real terms because this was a big deal. I've been baptized in so many different churches because I was like seeking. I was chasing Jesus. I was like following Joyce Myers. I'd go to revivals. Like we drove all the way to Brownsville, Florida. Is it Florida? Like something to go to this revival that had been going on for months. And I went to Joel Osteen's church and Beth Moore was there. And like, I mean, I was going to figure this out, man. I was baptized and pled the blood and what do you say? Plead the blood and sworn and like all that stuff. I
Oh
did all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I did all that.
And I think, too, thinking that everything, like one thing is the right way and
That's it.
everything else is wrong, and it's like now it's like I can really look and see where I can take bits and pieces of those different beliefs, and make my own, and know what's right within myself. Um, because and give everyone grace and compassion for what they believe, but
Right.
at the same time, because there's so much like, oh no, that's wrong, you're not supposed to think that way, and that's my thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, but how can you say that?" I'm like, I'm not saying that I agree with them, I'm just giving them grace and compassion for what they believe, you know
Right. Without judging, without comparing. It's so like, this is it. This is it right here.
yeah,
That because I met beautiful humans in all of those churches.
yeah,
At those revivals, at those events. I met beautiful people. And the common theme was the selfishness, the selflessness, the dying for Christ, that to me was the common theme. And it was keeping people sick and stuck. That's what I awoke to, or what I kept seeing is the scarcity, the living in poverty, the living in illness, the like instead of taking personal responsibility because that was selfish, that they were on their knees waiting to be saved because
yeah,
they didn't have permission to see about themselves or to do for themselves because that was bad or wrong.
yeah.
Is that it?
Hmm.
I
Oh
hope
yeah.
I'm
No, oh yeah, I totally agree. And when you said one time, you said, Jesus came to show us how to live. That was different,
supposed to
completely
free
different,
us.
yeah. And then when you go and you read, all of what he did in his words, and it's like, when you look at it in that way,
Mhm.
and that, even, I'm doing like a Bible plan right now with the Advent, and when you can find the joy in him being born, and what he did, and for us, in order to live, and I mean, it's a totally different take on it, and um, freeing to me, knowing that
It's the
that
freedom and liberation to be all of us in service, in connection, in relationship.
yeah, I think that just not understanding the fact um, that God is, Jesus is within you, God is within you, and separating that is what is confusing and what I
Mhm.
was doing to me, but when I understood that he's within me, and like just like that, the peace, it was within me, that peace. And because when I was doing what I'm doing, what I feel is, what the journey that he wants me to be on, when I'm doing what is right within me, then everything flows.
So easy.
Everything. Y'all, I mean, everything. Something simple like, making somebody asked me to make a salad on Friday. I make this huge salad, then I have to make a salad on Sunday. I'm talking like this, it's crazy, but I'm like, oh, I have plenty salad left over from Friday. I can bring that on Sunday. Like it's just, I mean, I know it's kind of crazy, but just just, I mean, everything just flows when you just allow it. When I had everything, everybody over this, yesterday, all this thing of what I thought it should be and what I wanted to do and all this. And but whenever I just let it be, everything just flowed. When I kind of, I went in and knew exactly what I wanted to do, how I wanted, everything just flows. And I am like so much peace. And it just,
It reminds me of the day I got the vision of being out at the beach and having this mason jar and going and dipping the water from the ocean. And I was like, this is God, right? If this is God in here, even if we put Kool-Aid in it, even if it changes the colors, even you can never take the God out of us. We could never displease, that would result in a disconnection from God. Like we can't not be. But yet that's what the dogma has taught. The if you do this wrong, Jesus won't love you. If you do this wrong, Santa won't come. If like those kinds of things. And that's the belief that we take out into the world. And then we believe that we can be separated from God according to what we do. Or it's simply not true. It was emotional manipulation. We were threatened
mhm.
that our behavior would determine if we were loved by God or if we were separated from God. And then we take that story, that perception, and we bring it into all of our relationships.
It's true.
And so it's really healing that you can be all of you in human form. The human that does disgusting things and still be loved by God, still be of God.
Mhm. Yeah, that connection to me.
You can't separate unless you mentally separate, unless you withdraw. The abandonment comes from us, not from God.
No, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking that, but you can't, I feel like I was disconnected mentally,
Because you
you know.
weren't connected. Yeah, you weren't.
Yeah.
I felt the same way when I was at a yoga retreat in Alexandria, and I was sitting on a mat, and we were in just quiet, time, whatever. And I remember for the first time in my life, I wrote home on a heart. We had a heart like on a notebook, and I remember like it was the first time I ever felt at home in my body. It was the first time I ever physically came home to my body, that soul, mind, body connection. And I was like, almost like a floating butterfly for weeks after that. Like I was just like, everything flowed and everything was easy. And I was like writing poetry and I was like, what is happening? Who is this? Kind of like Christy says, who am I? Who's saying this stuff? And it was the connection with myself, exactly like you're talking about. And that is where that freedom and ease and flow comes from, is when we find ourselves. It's not just a metaphor. It is an actual tangible existence of being with ourselves. But when we think our behavior can separate us from God, we separate from ourselves. God
Yeah.
is within us. But I remember being told and I'm not bashing Catholics, we are Catholic, but being told by someone that by saying that, like, God is within me, I can't separate God, God is here, that was a no-go. And it was all about the Eucharist and that being blasphemy, and like, it was just, I was like, what? And Reiki was wrong and sinful, and like energy work and yoga was of the devil, and you can't clear your mind because then the devil's going to come in and take over it. And that's the kind of stuff I was told. Guys, I don't know where you guys are from, but that's what's happened out in the South. Those
Yeah.
are the things we were threatened by.
Yeah. Yeah. And even I don't understand all of it, but I'm willing to learn. I'm more open-minded now and willing to learn and to understand all of
I sure don't
all.
know. And I'm willing to question everything and
Yeah.
ask. And I'm willing to receive. And I trust the voice that is in me. It's never guided me wrong, ever, in 52 years. I don't know when I started listening to it, but I am 52 years old. And I do know, I recognize that knowing, that direction or that guidance, and I didn't always, but it was because of the conditioning that I
Yeah.
just mentioned. I couldn't go there because the conditioning was so strong, and I just wanted to please God. I feel like we just went on a religious tangent. How did we get here? But I,
Yeah.
I think we were talking with Mallory earlier in the series kind of about the same thing. It is such a big deal for those of us who are service-based
Yeah.
individuals, our soul service based, that I'm here to serve. That's what makes me feel good. That's what makes me feel satisfied and fulfilled and connected. I love doing for other people. And then it just kind of got twisted in some of that perception.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Um, and it's like I still feel like that's part of who I am, helping people and, of course, and doing all that. And it's just that I have that connection now and I can see like I don't give up myself to others. I'm trying to say I still help, but I do it when I can and when I'm not depleted and I don't let it deplete who I am.
What would you say to the person who feels like it's bad or wrong to do something for themselves, like doesn't have permission to do anything for themselves, or like you, Bridget, you quitting your job? That was a big deal. I mean, you had written off your life to this clinic,
Yeah. Mhm.
no matter what. Like, that's that strong commitment, where it's not bad to be committed to our jobs, right? But it was like your identity.
Right. Mhm. Yeah. Because it's, to me, it was my career. It's the career that I chose, and I love it. I mean, I loved the job. I love taking care of the animals and helping people. And it brought out the best in me in times, I guess maybe because of my willingness, because I want to help. So, it was, to me, that's what I was supposed to do, and I still want to help dogs, and they're humans and stuff, but I in a different capacity where I
It's
can
like you outgrew the ability to help on the level that you wanted to help out.
yes.
The,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
kind of like we're
Uh,
talking about with even the church. It's like our love for God and our love to serve outgrows the box.
yeah. Like you want more, and then and I felt shameful, that I wanted more. It was always,
Say that again.
I
My
felt
belief was I should be, it is bad to want more, and I am
yes.
ashamed.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's so important to really, I want more, and I feel ashamed because I want more.
Yeah.
That is, I don't even know the percentage. Any of you guys here feel that way? I should feel ashamed to want more. I have all this. Why isn't it enough? My dad would say, jamais de la vie qui en m'a mis. how much more you got to go? How much more you need? I mean, I was like, oh God, it made me feel so guilty, so bad.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, just thinking about it and saying it out loud. And it's not that there was anything wrong with, because like I love, I mean, my boss, I mean, he's like a bonus dad to me, and my clients and helping the animals. And it's like I still get this feeling, when I help the animals and the clients, I'm gonna cry. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I still wanted more.
Mhm.
I wanted something different, and
Is that still
whenever,
painful? Is that still painful to say that? Is it still
yeah,
scary?
look at I'm already, I'm crying. Yeah. Um, but like what I would tell others is to stop resisting, because that's what I was doing. Always resisting and like, no, 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 I can't have that. I can't have that. You know, you're not supposed to want that. um, and just to look within yourself. The
It's
answer's there.
okay to want more, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does it suck? Why does it suck to feel that?
Yeah, shoot.
So good. So
Yeah.
good. What does it bring up for you? Is it shame or is it grief? Like what's the
Um, Probably a lot of grief. It's 21 years, of doing that. And um I will still be helping. That's what I have to tell. I'm still helping dogs and their humans, but in a different capacity. Just trusting was really hard. I think that was one of our words. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but just trusting. Um, Trusting myself, trusting in the journey. Um, yeah, to just allow and stop resisting and stop questioning.
Yeah.
And
And it
just
doesn't
go.
make you bad. It doesn't make you bad because you
Yeah,
want more. It doesn't make you bad because you want. It's just because we want like that, but we've been told that.
yeah,
Jesus wouldn't like that. That's what
yeah.
I'm like, that dude wore flip-flops and a robe out in the desert. I don't know. No, I
Oh
think Jesus came to teach us to be better humans,
yeah.
and to turn that stuff around. And that permission, though, I'm with you. How many of you that are listening to this feel that same way? That permission for pleasure, permission to want more, to desire more, to have more, permission to leave something that's not working and to go to attain something else brings up so much fear, so much shame, selfishness. You shouldn't be that way. You're bad. This is classic for people who have TMS. So fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, thyroid, heart stuff, like those are classic. Chronic pain, back pain, low back pain, especially neck and shoulder pain, headaches, being pressured to be something that you're not, being pressured to be someone else, being pressured to act a certain way will create head pressure, headaches. These are all the things that Bridget was dealing with. As long as I've known her, these are the stuff she was dealing with. And to see her liberated in her physical body, like it showed up in her physical body, in her relationships, in her career. Where else would you say, Bridget? Like the change that you've seen just doing this work?
My relationship, of course, with myself, but with my husband, with my family, with friends, and just allowing just stop resisting, and stop like with my relationship with my husband, and some family members, just giving them grace and compassion, to be who
I
they
was
need
there
to be.
too. I was
Yeah,
there too. I get it. I see it now that I'm on the other
yeah,
side of it. So now I don't have to judge it. But when
yeah,
we're in it, we judge it because we're actually judging ourselves.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so where
And
you're at right now is like in that place of grace for yourself, for your own journey, for your own humanity. And so now you're giving it to other people because you're in
yeah,
it for yourself.
yeah.
Such a good
It's
place.
true. It's true. And just knowing that, to me, like sometimes just remembering that everyone else, just like I had all these thoughts and beliefs, everyone else does too. So they're all acting out, whether it's, I always say, they're walking around with their 5-year-old brains, and just being reactive and this and that. And so then when you can give them the grace and compassion to be who they are, and I'm not saying to let people walk all over you because,
That didn't work.
no,
That didn't work.
no, but even just separating from that, it's like, okay, I'm not, let, whoever, him, her, whoever, whatever they're going through, and it's not, I took so many things personally, it's like, I thought that whoever, if they were in a bad mood, then, oh, did I do something to upset you? Did I, and it was, that, what did I do to them? And it's like not realizing that ego,
It's
has
so
nothing to do with
uncomfortable.
you. It has nothing to do with you. Yeah. So just walking away and let them be their own self and let them um
Bridget, do you remember
take
it used to be?
responsibility for their own shit.
I'm sorry, I cut her off. She said responsibility for their own shit. But do you remember like walking away meant eating chips? At first, walking away meant I need to crunch on something. I need to do something. You were like, I have to have chips. It's chips, chips, chips. It was the funniest thing for a year or two, I guess,
The
right?
current.
It's like it'll
Yeah.
get more comfortable. Eventually you won't have to have the chips because you'll be able to feel the feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. And that to me was one of the hardest parts, is being in the uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Being in the uncomfortable is real. It's hard. It's hard, but
It
then, when
was
you get, yeah, it was hard. Yeah. But knowing when you get to the other side is so,
liberating. I'm going to ask you one last question, and that is, why do you think you had the resistance? What do you think the resistance served for you? Was it to keep you safe? Was it to keep you out of hell? Was it to, like, what do you think it was? Because you've mentioned resistance several times. So
yeah.
what do you, and there's always a reason for everything we do. So what do you think your unconscious set up this resistance for? We always know it's to keep us safe, but what was the belief? I can't be open to that because what will happen?
I think it was like, what if it's wrong?
Mm,
Like I
mhm,
had
I
this,
bet.
like, I don't want to do anything wrong, you know?
So how did you finally realize that it wasn't wrong and you could completely open and surrender and allow this new information to come through?
I think with trusting myself is one, because whenever I say trust in me, I've learned to feel when I know that it's right. When, I pay attention, and when I get this feeling, in my gut, and it's like, you know, then I know that I'm not on the right path. It's not the right
Mhm,
decision,
mhm.
and I stopped making decisions just, here and there, and just chaos, and just, but when I really think about it, when I trust in the feeling, and when I'm at peace and I don't have that resistance, then I know that I'm on the right path.
Mhm.
That
But you
makes sense.
needed the awareness. You needed to understand awareness first, because we're not saying she believes everything I say. And that's for any of my clients or anyone in self-healing masters or integrative coaching. I just put out ideas and experiences that I'm like attaining myself. And it's like, hey, go test this out, try this out. Right. And
Mhm.
I'm wondering if that practice of doing that for yourself is what we practice, we strengthen. Right.
Yes.
Because you don't listen to everything I say. Like for years, I've been saying stuff. You're like, that's interesting. I want to know more. I don't know what you're talking about. And then one day you're like, whoa, I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. I know, and I guess like what I say, whenever I keep saying that, because that's to me what's important is to be in alignment with who I am and with God and what He wants for me, and so I feel that whenever I am um not resisting and doing what I think everyone else wants me to do, or what, whenever I can be present and allow and really feel when I'm making a decision, or whenever I'm thinking about this specific thing, when I feel at peace, and then I know that it's right. It's the right decision.
So would you say that the punchline approach is what you go back to and grab, is coming back to that presence and really questioning that story and then navigating back to yourself?
Yes, yes. And I was kind of like, I resonate with Mallory a lot, because at first it's like I had all these words and I knew what certain feelings meant, but I didn't know how to connect them to what I was feeling, whether if it was the when I, all the feelings, how to, because you'd ask me, well, and how does that make you feel? And I'm like, I don't know.
Thank you so much for sharing so much vulnerability and honesty.
Thanks for having
I
me.
think it's the like really being Bridget, there was a time you wouldn't have been able to say any of this. You would get so red and your throat was completely blocked. You couldn't talk. You would start shaking. You had hives all over. Do you remember that? It's not,
Yes.
look at you. You've just like kept your shit together.
Yeah. I even had that fear before. I was like, what if the old me, those old, I get where I can't figure, I can't say my words and I can't do all of it. And I'm like, no, you got this. You got this.
So funny. I remember you getting coaching on that. You're like, I can't find words. I don't know. I just can't talk. They just go away. I don't know where they go.
They've been.
I wish we weren't out of time, but we are. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to share before we hang up? And then we'll give these guys a few minutes to ask you questions personally or to give feedback on anything from them.
No, I think we covered pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about, actually.
Thank you for coming on. I'm really excited about the work you're doing, bridging the behavior with the puppies and the parents, and really being able to teach them, the masters of the pups, right? Teach the humans this work in building relationship with their pets. It's so important. It's something that's not being talked about. It's different than just puppy training. It's really relationship building. And I love that you're doing it and working with clients. So I will link your info for anyone who wants to contact you. And I'm going to go ahead and take the recording off. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We have 3 more calls, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going all the way to Christmas Eve. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.